There's a debate brewing in aviation policy. Can states and cities regulate low-altitude drone flights and demarcate commercial drone highways? Or are drone routes more like commercial aviation, a federal matter? It's a pressing issue. Commercial drone operators are testing services like agriculture spraying, utility and rail inspections, and medical supplies deliveries. This technology is improving rapidly. A Chinese logistics company responding to the COVID-19 crisis reportedly made several tons worth of medical and emergency deliveries via drone in recent weeks. Closer to home, investors are funding drone startups with hopes of capturing some of the U.S. home medical delivery markets, which are worth tens of billions of dollars. But it's unclear how federal and state laws will interact in the low-altitude airspace that drones fly in, 200 feet or so above the ground. On the one hand, the Federal Aviation Administration is authorized by Congress to regulate navigable airspace in the U.S. Many aviation experts believe, therefore, that drones extend the FAA's powers all the way down to the tips of the grass in backyards, private woodlands, and farm fields across the country. So where does navigable airspace end and state authority begin? Court decisions are ambiguous, but earlier aviation cases made two things clear. Landowners and states can't prevent flights at high altitudes, but at low altitudes, aviation yields to property rights. Reggie Govan, a former FAA chief counsel, recently noted that drone services will test established aviation doctrines. U.S. v. CAUSBY, a 1946 Supreme Court decision, is an important case in this legal area. In the 1940s, military planes were flying at low altitude over North Carolina farmland near an airport. Mr. CAUSBY, a farmer, sued, alleging an uncompensated takings because the low flights made his home unlivable and the constant noise killed his chickens. The court in U.S. v. CAUSBY ruled out the ancient legal principle that landowners own everything upwards to the heavens. However, the court agreed with CAUSBY that low flights could be an unconstitutional takings. The court held that landowners own the immediate reaches above the land, and the court looked to North Carolina law to judge the property interests. Courts since have declined to say, however, how high the immediate reaches are, or where state authority ends. Some recent bills in Congress, to bring clarity to court decisions, would draw the line at 200 feet above the ground. Drones below that height would generally be controlled by states and property owners. Drones above that height would be under FAA jurisdiction. Major drone operators argue, however, that formalizing state and local control would create a costly fragmentation problem for compliance and harm interstate commerce. In the meantime, federal and state regulators are still figuring out their roles. In 2019, for instance, the North Dakota legislature authorized $28 million for a statewide drone management system, but are negotiating with the FAA about who takes the lead. The FAA has permitted a handful of drone testing sites across the country, including new medical deliveries. But for now, your pizza and coffee deliveries via drone will have to wait. Should drone operations be regulated by states and the FAA? Who will decide whether drone routes will be created, and how they would be regulated? What are the stakes for the future of innovation in drone delivery?